Earth, water, fire, air, and music. On Ray of Light, the extraordinary new album from Madonna on Warner Brothers Records, music has become a whole new element, touching the soul, even as it reaches for the stars. Hello and welcome to Words in Music, featuring an exclusive interview with Madonna, selections from Ray of Light, and comments from acclaimed producer and writer William Orbit, the man on hand for the creation of this groundbreaking collection of new, original songs from a truly legendary star. Featuring her latest single, Frozen, Ray of Light blends the best of the ambient and electronic music revolution with some of the most remarkable and revealing words and melodies Madonna has ever written. The result is an album that captures a world in a drop of water, a face in the heart of a flame, and a soul set free on a ray of light. Ladies and gentlemen, Madonna.
Throughout the recording process, we basically named the album about 20 times. It started off with Sutra, and then we thought that that was just too abstract for people. Then it became Mantra, and then still thought that was just a bit too deep for the general public. I thought people were going to put a P on the end of it or something and like do a play on words, and that would really annoy me. So then I thought I would call it Drowned World because that's one of my favorite songs on the album, but then I thought it could be perceived as a negative connotation. So, oh wait, there was another title that we really liked too. That was Veronica Electronica. But then we decided that we were going to call our remix record that. And so we ended up with Ray of Light. I feel like it has a really sort of hopeful message to it.
Put your head on my shoulder, baby. Things can't get any worse. Night is getting colder. Sometimes life feels like it's a curse. I can't carry these sins on my back. Don't wanna carry anymore. I'm gonna carry this train off the track. I'm gonna swim to the ocean floor.
I didn't realize that there was so much water imagery on the record until I got to the end of it. It sort of makes sense because working on the record was a cathartic experience for me and a healing experience. Giving birth to my daughter was a healing experience, and water is a healing element. So it makes complete sense that that would sort of pop up again and again throughout the record. I do think that the birth of my daughter was sort of a rebirth for me. It made me look at life in a completely new way, and that made me appreciate life in a way that I don't think I ever had before.
Burn them preachers. We can't carry these sins on our back. Don't wanna carry anymore. We're gonna carry this train off the track. We're gonna swim to the ocean floor.
Lots of people ask me what I would say to my daughter, what do I want to teach her? What's the most important thing to me? I mean, it all sort of centers around the same thing. Why are we on this earth? We're not just on this earth to be happy. We're on this earth to make other people happy, to be good, to help, to, make the world a better place. And I know that sounds really corny, but I'm 100% certain that we're not all put on this earth just so we can make lots of money and be successful, So I would try to impart that wisdom to her. It starts with self-love and self-respect, because when you have that, then you respect others and you know how to love others. And honesty and not being afraid to tell the truth. I just feel like if you have that, you have everything. Every one of us was born into this life or put on this earth or came to this earth for a purpose. We all have a destiny to fulfill. I mean, I think that's important to teach our children too, that everyone has a destiny and everyone is the master of that destiny. Life is something that you make happen for yourself and for the world around you.
Substitute for love, my substitute for love. Should I wait for you, my substitute for love, my substitute for love.
The song Drowned World definitely addresses the idea that, the idea of fame is very seductive to people. And a lot of people have the false impression that if you're famous, somehow you're going to feel this incredible sense of fulfillment and you're going to be truly loved and truly happy. I mean, and everyone who isn't famous thinks that's what happens to you when you're famous. But anyone who is famous could probably tell you that the opposite is true. If you aren't really truly fulfilled and you don't have intimacy in your life and you don't know how to love, then thousands of people adoring you actually makes you feel emptier. Fame can become a substitute for love for a lot of people. Love, approval, whatever you want to call it. But in the end, that's not what it is at all, and that song really deals with that. Fame can be very disruptive. It can be like a drug, like it gives you the feeling that you're happy. It gives you the feeling that you're fulfilled. It gives you the feeling of self-importance, and it can distract you from what's really important in life. I think I'm predominantly talking about fame in Drowned World, but also other substitutions for love, whatever that may be. Drugs, sex, codependent relationships, shoes, jewelry, whatever.
Substitute for love. You see? I find I've changed my mind. This is my religion.
I would say the beginning of my search and my spiritual journey, my spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, really kicked into first gear with the impending birth of my daughter and coming to a realization that I really didn't think I knew that much at all. And I felt like I had so much to learn, and I started asking myself so many questions, like what's important in life? What really matters in life? Why am I here? You know, I just asked myself every elemental question you could ever ask yourself. What it provoked was for me to sort of like really go out and start searching and reading. And I started studying the Kabbalah, and I started practicing yoga, and I started just kind of reading lots of different literature. It all sort of happened at once, and I don't think that there are any accidents. I think it happened to me for a reason. It happened to me like the teachers arrived because the student was ready to listen.
When I was very young, nothing really mattered to me but making myself happy. I was the only one. Now that I am grown, everything's changed. I'll never be the same because of you. Nothing really matters. Love is all we need. Everything I give you all comes back to me. Looking at my life, it's very clear to me. I lived so selfishly. I was the only one. I realized that nobody wins. Something is ending and something begins.
Nothing really matters. It's a song about the realization that the only thing that matters in life is loving people. There's a line in the song where I say nothing takes the past away like the future. I truly believe that no matter what you've done in your life, no matter how bad you perceive it to be, you can always change where you are. The whole idea of karma and doing unto others as you would have them do unto you, or that everything you do comes back to you, I mean, or that you pull in what you put out, or that, you know, the law of cause and effect. I mean, there's so many similarities that link all of these thoughts, philosophies, spiritualities, religions together, that in the end you have to say, well, there must be some universal truth here.
Like the future, nothing makes the darkness go. Like the light, your shelter from the storm. Give me comfort in your arms. Vande Gurunam Charanaravinda Sandarshita Swatma Sukhavabhote Nishreyase Jangalikaya Mane Samsara Hala Hala Moha Shantiye.
The song Shanti was inspired by the Sanskrit prayers that we chant before we do yoga. And the idea is that even if you don't understand the words and you just learn them by memorizing them and hearing them, that the saying of the word, the vibration that occurs in your body from saying it, actually brings a feeling of bliss and happiness. So the saying of Sanskrit is as important as the prayer that you're saying, the meaning of it. And I've learned several prayers, and I don't know why, but every time I say it, it makes me feel good. I felt inspired by that, and I wanted to put that on my record, and I took a crash course in Sanskrit, and so the song Shanti is like a sort of artistic license that I took on 2 Vedic prayers from the 13th century, and then sort of I threw in a bunch of stuff too. So what I wanted to do was take the idea of it and put it into the 21st century and use modern sound.
Shanti, 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 oh. Vande Gurunam Charanaravinda Sandarshita Swatma Sukava Bhute Nishreyase Jangalikaya Mane Samsara Hala Hala Moha Shantiye Hala Hala Abahu Purushakaram
And I don't want to sound egotistical or anything like that. I mean, but I do think that if I've been enlightened, and I truly feel like I've been enlightened, then it's my responsibility to share what I know with other people. In the Kabbalah, there's 10 spherots, or 10 levels of consciousness, and each level gets further and further away from the material world or the world of the senses and goes more and more into the spiritual world. And so I feel like I'm just moving more in that area in terms of exploring, and which isn't to say that I'm not interested in sex.
Kiss me, I'm dying. Put your hand on my skin. I close my eyes. I need to make a connection. I'm walking on a thin line. I close my eyes. I close my eyes. Do I know you from somewhere? Why do you leave me wanting more? Why do all the things I say sound like the stupid things I've said before?
When Words and Music returns, Madonna and co-producer William Orbit talk about the creation of Ray of Light.
I worked on Evita for 2 years, and then I had a baby, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do next, and I didn't know if I had the energy to do it. So I first started writing with people, and I tried to figure out if I would be inspired and I would come up with things, and I did. So then I thought, okay, I can go and record and make another record. I asked tons of people to work with me, Nellie Hooper, Tricky, Goldie, Prodigy, you name it. And I was sort of out there fishing around for ideas and directions and somebody who would be like the perfect collaborator for me.
That perfect collaborator turned out to be William Orbit, the acclaimed English producer who had previously worked with Madonna on remixes of her hits Justify My Love, I'll Remember, and many others. Perhaps best known for the ambient alchemy of his Strange Cargo albums, Orbit would enter a whole new musical realm with Ray of Light.
Late spring, early summer, she rang me up. Actually, I'd sent her a tape of some ideas, and I hadn't expected anything to come of it. And 5 days after I sent it, or something like that, she called up and said, I like your stuff. I've been writing songs, incorporating it and developing it. Do you want to come out and do some recording in New York? So I said, yeah, I'm there.
My working relationship with William sort of grew out of an experiment. I mean, working in the studio with somebody is like a marriage. It's a chemistry, and you have to hit it off with somebody. So that's why the writing process really came in handy. And I decided to write with William because I loved the results of all the stuff he had done for me in terms of remixing. I thought, well, let me try working with this guy, because I always give him my music when I'm done with it. So why not start the process with him?
I make music all the time without any purpose. You just do it. So until I had that call, it wasn't taking her into account. Subsequently, of course, I did. You know, we ended up working in a more collaborative way. And it became her project as she took it over. And that wasn't a problem because she's got a pretty clear idea of her direction. And I like her direction because I was very intrigued by how she does go on her way musically, because in the past, you know, I perceived her as a member of the public, and you tend to see her efforts in packages, in chunks. You know, an album will come out, a year later another album, and you can see directions going on. But on a day-to-day basis, it's not as simple. I think it's very instinctive. The music that she was getting juiced by, I felt the same way about. It wasn't like we had to sit down and work out aesthetically where we were all going to go and stuff like that. It was unnecessary because it was going fine anyway. Thank you very much.
And it's giving, so do it. That's what the gospel said. Do me. Life it's living, so let your judgments go. That's how our future should be. Traveling down this road, watching the signs as I go. I think I'll follow the sun. Isn't everyone just traveling down their own road, watching the signs as they go? I think I'll follow my heart. It's a very good place to start.
I certainly don't consciously set out, I don't say to myself, let me take the whole like electronic, ambient, trancey, hip-hop world of music and bring it to the mainstream. All I do is I say, well, look, this is the kind of music that I love. And on the other hand, I know how to write a good pop song with a good hook, so why can't I combine those elements? Why does one have to live in one world separate from the other world? The thing is that I love a lot of techno music, but you never think of it as being very emotional. So what I wanted to do was make it intimate, make it emotional.
Young velvet porcelain boy, devour me when you're with me. Bluish window seas speak delicious fires. I'm your candy perfume girl, your candy perfume girl. Moist, warm desire. Fly to me. Your candy perfume girl.
Definitely the tangents were fast and furious. I mean, sometimes a track would morph off and become like an amoeba. There would be too many ideas to contain within one track, and it ends up being two tracks. This can happen. A phrase that was used a few times was not to gild the lily. You know, I mean, you've got to stick to an agenda with a project like this, but you don't want to be so locked into that, so blinkered that you can't pursue other avenues. So there was this kind of constant dynamic. So the way it worked was basically me not getting any sleep. Because it's like, faced with two distinctly difficult choices. Work on what's on the agenda, or go off on a tangent because it's a good tangent. Got to do both. Want to have the cake and eat it. So what goes? Sleep. That's expendable. You can sleep when you're dead.
We had a ritual every night when we were making the record that we had to take breaks and have proper meals, because we worked around the clock and it was very uncivilized. The engineer and William were sleeping every night in the studio, and it smelled like a locker room in there. It was really disgusting. So we had this ritual. We got out of the studio, we went into the dining room. We had a table that was very formally set, candle lights, everyone had their name on a name card. And for like a half an hour, we got out of the head of making a record. But you can be sure that as soon as that 30 minutes was up, the whip was cracking and everyone was back in the locker room.
Madonna's new album, hopefully it's got some instant attractions to it. I think it does. I think you first play it and you get vibed up pretty quick. But it's important that you realise that this album's good for a lot of spins, a lot of plays. People will discover stuff. I'm absolutely confident about that. And that kind of thing doesn't happen overnight. You need to pile in the layers, and then they're like hidden time bombs. And I hope people are going to be discovering little things a year down the line, 5 years down the line.
God gave a present to me, made of flesh and bones. My life, my song, you make my spirit whole. Never forget who you are, little star, shining brighter than all the stars in the sky. Never forget how to dream, butterfly. Never forget where you come from love.
I'm not going to describe personally what each song means to me, because I think that mystery is important too. At the end of the day, I want people to listen to those songs and try to be able to relate to them in their own personal way. Every time that I say the word I in a song, I'm talking to other people as much as I'm talking to myself. In the song Frozen, I think it's a universal idea that holding on to hate and regret is a waste of time, a waste of energy. You cannot love unless your heart is open.
If I could melt your heart, we'd never be apart. Give yourself to me. Now there's no point in placing the blame, and you should know I suffer the same. If I lose you, my heart will be broken. Love is a bird, she needs to fly. Let all the hurt inside of you die. You're frozen when your heart's not open.
You've been listening to Words and Music, featuring an exclusive interview with Madonna and tracks from her new Warner Brothers Records release, Ray of Light. Words and Music is a copyrighted feature, and no portion may be reproduced without written permission from Warner Brothers Records. This program was written and produced by Davin C. The engineer was Pat Krause. Thanks for listening.
Give yourself to me. You hold the key. How can life be what you want it to be? You're frozen when your heart's not open.